Good evening and welcome to another edition of the FTTC podcast, sponsored by the Hallmark Channel, debuting Take a Stand's FTTC fairy tale shortly after Christmas. We are your home for breaking news and breaking balls in the fantasy sports world. From touchdowns to tailgates, we've got it all covered with a dash of witty banter. I'm your host, Jason Stankiewicz, and today we are joined by our ultimate cellar dweller, who just quite didn't keep himself out of the punishment slot with a very unlucky circumstance and set of events in Week 14. We're going to hear from AutoDraftBotSquad and Mr. Michael Schillinger. Without further ado, let's get to it.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we have wrapped up the regular season, it's time to hear from a former champ who has seemingly embraced an all-or-nothing philosophy. Finishing in last place this year for the second time, owner of AutoDraftBotSquad, Mr. Michael Schillinger. Mike, how are we doing today?
Hello, everyone. Doing well, doing great.
How you feeling, man? Obviously, the season didn't quite go your way, but how's morale right now?
Morale's fine. I really don't care about the outcomes of the league. And this punishment is kind of just interesting. I feel like I just don't know the exact. I mean, I know the punishment, but I feel like there's like a lot of loopholes / gray spots. So we can get into that if you want, but yeah. So I'm not feeling too bad.
Well, hey, while we're on the topic, I mean, I don't think it's the worst punishment. It seems like a lot of administrative work, but what's your take on it thus far?
So actually, I want to get your perspective on it. I'd be more mad if it was like a punishment that was like super embarrassing. I know I have to like dress up, I think, for like golfing, which I'm fine with. And it's not like I have to like spend a ton of money. I just kind of have to do planning, which will take time. But I want to know how you're podcasting and kind of just doing, I feel like a time-based punishment is for you.
It's, I would say it's been interesting. I think balancing it with work it has been interesting because it's like you try to find time.
Yeah.
If you have a really busy week or you're traveling or something, it's like you got to find 30 minutes to try and squeeze something in.
Yeah.
So time-based ones they're not bad. Like it's been kind of fun at times.
Yours is way more time consuming, I would think, than planning a trip, but so I don't know.
I don't know. You got a lot of people who get on the same page.
Yeah. That's true. But I'm trying to think of how much wiggle room I have because I guess how many years did Steve pushes back? Like 3 years. So I mean I could see myself planning this trip when we're all in our like 40s or something. With getting everyone scheduled and stuff. I mean, I could try. It'll be fun, but like, also, I guess most of the league. I feel like we're kind of in the window of like there's a decent amount of weddings and bachelor parties and like people have like other commitments. So I think that is obviously part of like the harder part of the punishment, like aligning everyone's schedule, but. I almost think like we're not going to be able to get every single person, and then I can just be like, well, we can't get everyone, and then just push it off to like next summer or something. I don't know. So we'll see.
I think it'll be interesting to see how the league in general treats it once we start planning it. Like, because it's going to be very difficult to get everyone's schedules to align. So like at some point, do we just say, all right, we got a quorum, we got like 8, 9, 10 people, whatever. Should we just fire it off with that, or do we really need the full league?
That's how I think it will go down. But again, the one calling those shots is our one and only commissioner, who I'm assuming other responsibilities as part of this trip might fall on his lap as well. But we'll just see.
Well, on the plus side, I think you've had a lot of people who've expressed a little interest in potentially helping out. I mean, you said some Airbnb options earlier. I'm not sure.
I was going to say, I don't know if you had a chance to look at those, but
I haven't had a chance to look through them yet. I'm not sure how serious they were or not, but do you kind of have an idea right now, like what you're looking at?
I mean, they weren't super serious, but I think in the back of my head, I think it would be funny to do basically what I did was I went to Airbnb, and I think when you just click the search bar and you have like, you put in no selection, it just kind of gives you a bunch of like wacky shit. And I think it would be funny just to find like some wacky, like weird Airbnb to go to. Because I feel like anywhere you go to, there should be like a couple golf courses you can go to. So It's like whatever if people want to golf. But having just like a hilarious home base would be kind of funny. So if I can find like a super unique Airbnb, I think that would be funny.
I mean, there's a few of them out there that have like golf courses attached to them. You can kill two birds, one stone.
I've been spammed with that Instagram of like, this is a sick house with a golf course on it. And I think like the one that's been going around is in Vermont. I like looked it up and there was a weekend available in October, but it's like, dude, it's like $22,000 to book it. And the description's really wonky. Like, I don't know what kind of I don't know how many holes they have on this golf course. I don't by the end of the season, I don't know what kind of condition it's in, just because it's probably just bachelor parties, just like going to town on it. And then also it's like, if you pay that much and you want to golf, I feel like if you're on a golf course, it might get like, if they don't have a full golf course and it's not super nice, it'll probably just be like boring to play by the end of it. It'll be like, all right, I want to go somewhere new like tomorrow, but we just have to go to this shitty golf course again.
Yeah, I don't know. You can always mix in some games.
But the other side of that is like, you can like literally, if there was a cool hole, you could sit on that cool hole for like, 2 or 3 hours and just like play games and like do fun shit. So I don't know. I just give and take.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I'm kind of excited what ideas you come up with.
Yeah.
So, I think we're moving in an interesting direction as a whole as it relates to punishments, right? We have the podcast now. We got a golf trip this next year. I kind of like the way that we're moving. Honestly, I think it's adding some value back. But what's your take on the way we're moving and maybe some future punishments that you think could be good?
Yeah, the way we're moving. Let's see, adding benefit. I don't know. No, I enjoy the podcast. I think, and then like the trip planning. Yeah, it's more just like administrative tasks versus like embarrassment, like physical activity. I'm trying to think back to like past punishments. I think a little bit easier of a year. I'm fine with going back to harder punishments, assuming that I won't come in last again, or just more embarrassing ones. Because one that I think I've proposed it before, but I really want to do it is having someone street perform like in Chicago, like, and they have to make a certain amount of tips or like do it for a certain amount of time until they're like, relinquished of that task. But I think that would just be like hilarious. I'm kind of just on board for like anything that someone does that's like entertainment for the league. So that's why I thought Steve's was funny in general, but like the fact that we couldn't like come watch him try out for the basketball team, like that would have added another level of like funness, obviously, for the whole league. But so anything that we can all kind of get entertainment out of, I'm for. So I guess that's kind of in the vein of like me planning the trip, but I could plan a really shitty trip and everyone will be pissed. So.
I mean, I'm sure it'll turn out great, but yeah, I agree. I think that the more that we can entertain people and keep punishments like fun and whatnot, the better it is. But obviously, there's a whole season that got you here. I want to go back to week 14 for a minute because you did end up winning. You needed to win.
I did. I beat your ass, dude.
You did. You pulled out a slim margin victory. A 0.6 point victory over me.
Yeah, pretty slim.
Did you feel kind of hard done though, because of Coco's performance? I mean, when you look at some of the numbers his team put up, it was not live.
That's why I think I would much rather have it that way than like it being like super close and me being like, if it was my fault for like managing my team wrong the last week and like why did I play that one dude, where it's like it doesn't matter what my lineup was, like Coco's team just kind of went off, so I just kind of had to live with it. And I feel like it was like pretty early on. I mean, he had Zeke Thursday night drop like 20-something points, which was like his best game of the season. And I was a little worried that the rest of the team was gonna kind of follow suit. So,
well, I mean, he had Zeke go off, as you mentioned. He got 42 points from Minnesota defense and Brandon Aubrey. So his special teams putting up 42 points. Kyle Pitts got his first touchdown in 8 weeks. I mean, I was looking at his roster there, and I mean, completely outrageous, the performances that he got in kind of prime time when he most needed it.
I can't really complain about the defense. My defense has been like my best player for like most weeks. Yeah, like his kickers, he's had a pretty consistent kicker though. Pissing me off. Yeah, Zeke. Yeah, I mean, and Josh Allen, I feel like has been pretty solid the whole year. So, I mean, he has been. It's not a feeling. That's actually a fact. But so yeah, no, I have to hand it to him. His team came through when he needed them, but it doesn't really matter because I think he's going to be planning half this trip anyway. So, fuck him.
A joint effort. But
yeah,
I want to go back to your team for a second for the year. Obviously, there was a few guys who kind of helped you week to week, and some guys are pretty disappointing. But who would you say was your least favorite player on your team for this season?
Least favorite? Oh, by far Eckler, dude. He sucked. I mean, he had like a few good weeks. Like that was like first round pick caliber, but like he had a couple weeks of injury, which was like annoying because it lined up with Aaron Jones's injury. Who Aaron Jones was like second on the list of pissing me off. But no, Eckler. It's just Eckler's such a douche. And that game against, I'm seeing like highlight videos of him against the Raiders with like doing the first down, and they're down like 56 points. And I think Kikors actually sent me an Instagram of just like him doing like a fashion style video with his girlfriend, just like a personal Instagram video of him just like off the football field. And I was like, he kind of seems like an actual tool in real life. And then I don't know. I was just super confused because I feel like the first week of the season, the Chargers played the Dolphins, and it was like two offensive powerhouses, and they were going back and forth. And I was like, this is insane. Like, I feel like Eckler's going to have a great year, and then they just so I'd say Eckler.
I gotta wonder if his injury contributed to it. I mean, obviously, I think he like sprained his ankle or something and was out a number of weeks.
And then they lost. They lost Williams, I guess. Is that the
receiver? Yeah, lost Williams. I mean, eventually, Herbert was playing hurt all year. But yeah, I mean, watching Eckler last night. Watching Eckler last night, I mean, the dude seems just completely washed. Like he's got no legs. He's getting outrun by defensive tackles.
Someone sent like a video of him. It was like mid-season in our like the FTTC Instagram group of him, like a highlight of him, and he looked so slow. It looked like he was in slow motion. It was so funny. He's just not good. So.
No, I mean, it obviously didn't work out. I think he'll probably be staying away from him next year. But let's flip it a little bit here. I know we got you on a little bit of time crunch here, but let's flip it a little bit. Turn you into an analyst. So week 15 matchups here underway. We had some players put up some performances last night. Who do you think's coming out of the quarterfinals here?
Oh God. Let me check. I mean, I don't even know who's in the playoffs. I really haven't paid attention to the league at all. So I'm trying to navigate to, do they have like a bracket or something?
Yeah, I think it should be on like whatever the standings is now.
League matchup.
The matchups are.
Okay, 5. Okay. So we got your stupid fucking, I don't know how the fuck you made the playoffs. Your team fucking sucks. And then Billy's team sucks too. I can't believe this playoff. Oh my God.
So I want to talk about Sneaky Pete for a second because that name is so appropriate. Because the only reason that he's in the playoffs is because he had that 68-point win over Roadrunners Naz. The matchup where he won 68-62. If he doesn't win that matchup, he doesn't make the playoffs.
Okay, I remember you fucking having some pretty low point wins too. So that's why your team is just trash. So you shouldn't even be in the playoffs. But that is, I'm sorry that Las Vegas dropped 25 points on. That's pretty terrible. So I guess I'm kind of rooting for Sneaky Pete. And then who we got? Jordy's Ghost and Strickland Propane. I don't know. That's a toss up there. I think probably rooting for Strickland, but Jordy's Ghost currently projected for higher. I don't really care. As long as Zay doesn't win, I don't know who I want to win the whole league.
Well, that's my next question. I mean, looking at the playoff bracket right now, who do you want to come out on top? Not who do you think will, but who would you most be like, oh, I'm happy that person won?
I'll root for Sam. I think it would be cool if Sam won. The rest of the teams kind of look like trash. I feel like Steve's been on top, and for most of the year, it was funny when we had that influx of data coming through from like past league performances and Steve's like how he's like stacked up against like prior champions or first place finishes. So yeah, he doesn't deserve it. And so I guess I'm pulling for Sam.
I mean, what was crazy about that data for a second was that Steve actually has an extra week over the other teams because the season got longer, right? So he should have, in theory, put up more points than he did.
Yeah, that's true.
But like, he didn't even crack like the top 10, apparently, according to Nate. So that's pretty wild.
That is kind of wild. Yeah, I would love if we had like some kind of. I mean, I'm sure the data would be like a little skewed, but it would be. I kind of want to see that Excel. And we should have. I mean, that would have been a good semi-loser punishment or something, having to put together just like, actual deck of just like funny statistics. But either way,
maybe we'll do it as like an accolades podcast or something. But anyway, we got you winding down here. Appreciate you jumping on real quick. A tough season for you, no doubt. But any last thoughts you want to share with the league before we get you out of here?
Last thoughts? No, just send me any suggestions if you have any places you want to go for the trip. And yeah, and if you have any complaints about places I choose, just complain to the commissioner.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here from Mr. AutoDraftBotSquad. Thank you so much for another great year, and we look forward to maybe catching up with you next year. Who knows?
Sounds good. Thanks, Jason.
That's it. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And before we sign off today, I want to drop a little Easter egg for y'all. At the FTTC podcast headquarters, come 2024, we are expecting a tiny new co-host sometime in May. And you can expect to hear from them as we get ready for the 2024 season and kick things up a notch in the FTTC. Thanks again for listening to another episode of the FTTC podcast. I'm your host, Jason Stagowitz. Until next time.